Hello, people, and welcome back to the Outbounds YouTube channel. And we just have to be back with NBA again. I mean, there's trade deadline day, trades are flying everywhere. I mean, superstars are leaving their teams. Just before we get into it, I am back with, I don't know if to call them guests anymore because like you've been here a couple times. So you see one of those ones like when you just help yourself to the fridge and stuff like that. It's like you're regulars here now. But Abbas, how we doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Like I said, trade deadline day. This is what I was going to say about trade deadline day. I know I get on the NBA for being boring until All-Star, but it's Super Bowl week, and all we're caring about is the NBA, so they've done something right this time.
Yeah, and Sam, how you doing as well?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Happy to talk some basketball. It's been a weird season, but always this a lot of strange things happen, and obviously it's trade seasons, trade day, deadline day. So yeah, a lot of madness going on. So it'll be good to just chop it up and just talk on that, man.
I mean, I've always said in terms of like, so obviously, because we all live in the UK, in it, so we're football fans, in it. And I've always talked about if you just talk about what happens like in terms of the in-game stuff, I've always said I prefer watching football. But if you're just going to talk about everything outside of the game, I think there is just nothing like the NBA. Is you just be chilling, and next thing you know, Ward and Shams, they're racing to see who's going to tweet first. And earlier in the week, I think not even earlier in the week, exactly on Thursday last week, Kyrie demanded a trade. He said he wanted out of Brooklyn, and I've said on my TikTok that I felt like it was a smart thing for him to do because now it's two things. Nets are either gonna have to keep him, and then he's gonna be a distraction, and the whole Kyrie stuff with Brooklyn, or they're gonna have to trade him to Dallas, and you won't get as much value as you should get for a superstar back in return. And it was the latter, as you know, Kyrie is now in Dallas. How do you guys feel about that? Because if you were to ask me, that trade with Kyrie and Luka reminds me a bit of you see small ball rockets, Russ and Harden, two ball dominant players, ISO, 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 and then it's either Harden a step back three or Russ a slash into the thing. But how do you guys feel about the Mavs Brooklyn trade? Abbas, we'll start with you.
So do you know it's interesting you said about both of them too, because a lot of people said it wasn't going to work or it didn't work, and then for a large percentage of it, I'll say it actually did work. Because they actually used to get far. The only thing that there used to be that little stumbling block that they just couldn't get past. But for the majority of it, it worked. And I think you can. But yeah, I think when you've got players who are good enough to work with another star, I think your brain just initially gets into that flow like, yes, we're going to make this work. And I think if you look at Luka, he's been screaming for another guy to take the ball off him and be able to see, here's the rock, you go do your thing now. I can just take a little bit of a break, but still get my numbers. And I feel like Kyrie will be reciprocated of that because he's worked around a lot of teams: Boston, Cleveland, Brooklyn. He's done basically the full East, and now he's coming. And I think he'll know in his mind as well that this is kind of like my final shot to work with an all-star and prove I can kind of make it work. And I think it'll work well. Again, like I said, it's going to take a lot of egos for the rest of the team to know that 1 second, we're going to either take less, not necessarily less minutes, but less touches of the ball. And they've got to understand that they have to make that work between them. I think Luka will be fine. It's just going to be, I guess, like you said, the rest of the team, are they going to be able to fit into it, gel into it? And I think if they know what's best for them, they will go ahead and do this for them.
Sam?
For me, looking at the deal, I look at it as a rental in it because for me, I don't see how Luka and Kyrie are gonna mesh. Yes, they're both ball dominant and they're both alphas, isn't it? Like when Kyrie was at the Nets and he was with KD, he said, "Oh, this is the only guy that he could defer to that could hit a shot like him, a big shot." And we've seen with Luka, and I've always said that Luka is basically a James Harden, in it. But the narrative is that Luka's something special, which don't get me wrong, he is, but his game is very similar. Dribble, 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 step back three, or get to the paint for a layup or free throws. And I just don't see it working because Luka, yes, he might be screaming out that he wants another teammate, but maybe not a teammate or a second star on the level of Kyrie, where he might sometimes have to defer. And I don't think Kyrie's in that situation where he wants to start deferring to Luka. If it's KD, yes. If it's LeBron, yes. But I don't think he's in that mindset of thinking, yes, I'm going to defer to Luka and Luka's better than me. For Dallas, I think it's a win-win because you get him on a rental. He might stay. And with Dallas, no one's going to Dallas anyway in the off season. So with them, they can offer, and Mark Cuban will probably offer Kyrie the max, which he might not have got elsewhere, and trying to make Kyrie stay at Dallas. But if he doesn't go, then Kyrie has his wish where he can find his own team that he wants to go to. So it's a win-win for both parties. You offer him the big max, and Kyrie might take it because no one is actually playing Dallas with Luka currently as a free agent. So I look at it like that, but I just don't see it working, to be honest. I could be wrong, but I just don't see it in terms of how both of them play stylistically.
I get it from your point when it comes to styles and stuff, but when I look at it from a business standpoint and where Kyrie might have to bite the bullet a bit is you've worked your way around. You've tried to be the A guy or the AB guy, but it's not worked anywhere. And if anything, like you said, Richard, like there's a bit of a reputation now with Kyrie that he's a bit of a problem. And as much as he's a problem, how much is that problem worth to your team? And there might actually be, because again, like you said, there's only a certain handful of teams that are championship quality teams. And I don't think Kyrie's the A guy on a championship team. So then that A guy that he would have to go to, do they want that type of problem to basically stop the harmony in the team and stuff? So I think they kind of have to make it work to a point. And I think playing under Mark Cuban, he seems like that type of owner that is friendly and you want to be with him. Like I don't think anybody really says bad things about Mark Cuban. So I think they've got that in there. But I think also it depends, like you said, how does Luka feel? Because he's still the main guy. Like, don't get it wrong, Kyrie's there. And his statement about Kevin Durant's not wrong. I think Kevin Durant's the only guy he can defer to as the shot. But I think once he gets there, he'll realize how much Luka's A1 and he still has to be the second guy to him.
Then that kind of play in Kyrie's mind, and that, I've come here and I still think I'm that big shot playmaker, but then I have to defer. And Kyrie and Luka are very similar. Ball dominant, dribble, and people are waiting around.
I'm going to come to as well is because how do you think it's going to be a thing where Kyrie will be happy to play? Because to a lesser degree, and I know different positions and stuff, you look at the whole Kristaps Porzingis situation. Now, he's not what he was at the Knicks or whatever, and he did have his own faults and underperforming as well. But I do think a lot of the issues that Kristaps Porzingis had with the Mavs was with what Luka was doing, because Luka would dribble out the clock and then Porzingis would have to settle for like 50 feet jumpers from the, and you'd be thinking, why don't you just get in the post because you're like 7'2"? But it's like when Luka's out dribbling out the clock, it's hard for another player to get involved. So if you now have a center that isn't ball dominant, because centers are never ball dominant anyways, if you now have a center that can't coexist, and Porzingis, although he's not an all-star caliber center anymore, or you can argue he's not anymore, he's not a scrub, you get what I mean? Like, he can still play. So if a player like that can't coexist with Luka, what are the chances of another ball-dominant player then trying to coexist with Luka?
Exactly. Someone that doesn't need the ball, I said, get me out of here. But then a person that needs the ball a lot is going to be like, yeah, I'm all right, comfortable not having the ball in my hand for 20 seconds of every time. Like, yeah, I hear that.
And also, just another situation, if you look at because remember I said it reminds me a bit of the whole Russ and Harden situation. I do think at the same time, Harden can be a very good spot-up shooter at times. So when Russ had the ball, if you swing it to Harden, he can pull up. Luka doesn't strike me as he seems like, rhythm shooters, the ones that need to feel the ball a bit, then they step back and they throw up. And also, when you do pass to Kyrie and he's doing all these dribbles, what is Luka going to be doing? Is he going to stand around? Is he going to start doing backdoor cuts, the setting screens? I don't know. There's a lot.
He's not Steph. You know what I mean? He's not Steph running around tiring people out. It's happening. I need the ball back now. And then are we going to get another Draymond and KD situation here? I need the ball.
So I do think Mavs will win a bunch of games and they can go far in the playoffs, but it's just about when it comes to crunch time, what would the movement be like? And Abbas, as you believe in this, though, you can answer that.
So this is the way I look at it. The way you said, I'm going to lean more on Luka. I think Luka will be the guy that will have the majority of the shots. I think Kyrie will have majority of the ball, but when it does come to that final shot, it's going to be Kyrie. I do like I what you said. Your opening statement was about the fact that he can defer to somebody to have that final shot, and I still think Kyrie believes that. I think Kyrie believes Kevin Durant will only be that guy, no matter who else he's got in his team. It's always going to be Kevin Durant, which I understand because I think he's the best shooter in the game. But where this could differ, I think Kyrie's more clutch than Luka to an extent, even though Luka's hit some big shots. But I think Luka has the ability to be a bit more efficient when it needs to be, in my eyes. Like, I know that sounds a bit mad, but
I was about to say.
but I think Luka has a bit more to him where he can score in different areas where I can trust Kyrie to hit that final shot. If I need a step back three or anything like that, or if I need someone to hand the ball in the final 15 seconds, that final play out of time, I would run it through Kyrie more than I would do with Luka. But again, it's going to be one of them things where you have to make this transition really quickly because the clock will be ticking post what we got All-Star break to be able to make an impact. And again, I know what you said about a rental, but this is why I think this rental could go on a bit longer because they're going to see if they can actually make this work. And if they can't, well, again, it'll go to that point that it happens for me, LeBron's greatness, that he was able to make this work with Kyrie because of the fact that he's been able to move around so many teams and you've not had that success.
And that's why I think Dallas are going to dangle that carrot that we're going to offer you a max because everyone else won't do it. But it's just that Kyrie is going to be a free agent. And I know he wanted the money from the Nets, but at this period of time, is he going to say, do you know what, maybe trying to win another chip elsewhere where I take less money, but I've got a freedom to go where I want to go. And yeah, if I got to defer with LeBron or whoever that may be, or even going back to, I don't know, he could go to, just for example, go to Milwaukee or whatever he decides to do. But I'm just saying there's going to be options out there where I might take less money for a year and then re-up next year because Luka's got what, his contract runs out in 2027. And a lot of people think that he might end up moving on from Dallas at some point because no stars want to go to Dallas regardless anyway, as a free agent. So that's where there's going to be a lot of kind of persuading Kyrie.
Lucas seems to be not one-man team, but as much as he can maximize the contracts, the way the NBA situation is with supermax deals and etc. I feel like Luke is the type of guy to take as much money as he can do in Dallas. Similar, a bit, not necessarily in terms of what Dirk did, but have that Dirk-ish feel where he's there in Dallas. And when you associate Dallas, we look at Dirk and then it's Luka type of thing, like, bang, we've got you there. And I feel like Luka wouldn't move on from Dallas personally.
I agree. I hear that, but then also, I'll let you go, Rich, in a minute. But then also you feel, look, he's a Jordan athlete. Sooner or later, you need to start winning chips and being those big markets and justifying that price tag of being a Jordan athlete and getting those endorsements. So yeah, I do hear that in terms of you can do the Supermax and so forth, but you got to remember the NBA is a player league, innit? So you can sign that Supermax. 2 years into that, I want to get traded now. Trade me or I'm not playing or whatever that may be. So I hear where you're coming from, but then I also look at the other aspects anyway. But no, for sure.
No, I mean, I get where you guys are coming from. Just switching over to another big trade that we did have in the West, the Los Angeles Lakers. I mean, they have made a couple. They have made a couple of trades now. So first of all, they've traded Russ. They've sent him to Utah. I mean, I don't think he's going to put on a Utah jersey to begin with, but yeah, they've traded him, and it just remember like pre-season or beginning of the season, he was like, "You won't break my soul," and like he seems like the Lakers have broken his soul in so many ways that, like, the franchise, the coaches, the players, the fans, like it's been tough. Even though I do think he's played more times than not, he's played well this season. I think it was just one of those things. Trade deadline is coming up. You missed out on Kyrie. You're thinking like that we need to make a move, and they've gotten D'Lo back. They got what's his name, Beasley as well, and then I can't remember who the other guy, Van Du, is that his name? Or that he's short name. Um,
Vanderbilt.
yeah, Vanderbilt. Yeah, they've got him as well. And then when D'Lo came, Patrick Beverley was talking about reunion, but they've sent him to Orlando as well. And actually, let me just see who they got back for Pat Bev, because when he was celebrating, I even tweeted out, "Do not get too comfortable because he's next." And I feel like some part of this was so Mo Bamba is coming to the Lakers, which
okay. We know for check West, but it's all right.
Apparently, he shoots 50% from the field and 40% from free. So, I mean, you've got more space in there because they got rid of Thomas Bryant and he's a decent rim protector as well. So, just in terms of two parts, one is that with the Lakers making this move, how much better do you think they've gotten and how far do you think they can go now?
Who's that to? I think offensively, right about now, you would probably take D'Lo because he's a threat from the perimeter. You know, he's a lefty and he can slash. But again, it's not nothing. It's not a needle mover that you're looking at the Lakers and thinking, "Oh, you got LeBron, you got AD, and you got D'Angelo Russell." So for me, it's just Rob Pelinka being Rob Pelinka. You know what I mean? Moving too slow, taking his time, and just trying to figure a way to do something, but it's not something that's eye-catching where I'm like, okay, cool, the Lakers are going to do this now. So, yes, I would say they're better off now, but it's not much of an upgrade.
Can I just say one thing quickly in regards to that? Because what confused me a bit was two things. One is, because remember, they had the opportunity to give 2 first-round picks and Russ to the Pacers for both Hill and Turner. And then obviously later on in the season, Turner signs the contract and the Lakers have made this trade and deadline or whatever. The question I had is, why didn't Rob Pelinka make this move earlier? Because a deal like this, I'm not sure. I don't know if it's something that just recently came available, but if Russ doesn't want to be there and the team doesn't want Russ to be there, is it really something that you should wait to the trade deadline where you only got like 30 odd games to try and mesh it together?
But this is what I was just saying. Sorry, guys. This is what I was just saying, where it's Rob Pelinka being Rob Pelinka. He's taking his time and dillying and dallying, and then you just do a last-minute trade just to say you've done something. But really, how's it impacting the team? Because you're not going to give them enough time to mesh. And like I said, if this was the case from the beginning of the year, why didn't you do it then? But go ahead, Abbas.
I was going to say, to piggyback off that, remember, it's the Lakers. So if you're not talking, if nothing's happening of relevancy in terms of on the court, you want to talk about them. And if you make that particular trade at the start of the season, whilst it might work out, everyone wants a spotlight on the Lakers in some way. So if you say we're trading Russ, the eyes go on the Lakers, even if it's only for 12 hours, 24 hours, like, okay, let's see what we can. And all of a sudden, you have a team that's not living up to expectation. But again, the eyes are going to be on them. We want to see what these guys, everyone wants to see what Russell's going to come back and do. Well, not everyone, but there's a little bit of, okay, this guy's got unfinished business here. Magic did him dirty by trading them. Let's see what happens now type of thing. Can it be a bit of a reunion where he can do something? And to piggyback off it, what's funny is D'Angelo Russell played with some elite players. He played with Kobe. He's now played with LeBron. Played with AD. So this guy's had a nice little set of Laker players, and it'll be interesting to see what happens, because I think he comes back as a more mature player because of all the Nick Young stuff that happened before. So now
he played with Steph.
Yeah, and Steph.
Oh yeah, so, I remember Golden State. I don't say it was just a couple of years ago as well.
You know what? He's got like Hall of Fame teammate background, like
yeah.
You know it. But so like it'll be interesting to see, and then what we get again to piggyback off Sam is you get a bit more spacing. I think he shoots about 40% from 3. So that'll be put into the starting lineup to start off with. So already all of a sudden you've got better shooting from there. As for the defensive side, I know we got rid of Thomas Bryant, but again, we've got, what was the brother's name?
Thomas Bryant was a crap defender anyways.
That's what I mean. So basically we add depth defensively there as well off the bench. When AD's flat, we can substitute in. So it's not a blockbuster trade. I don't think the Lakers were ever in a position to do anything like that. Like I said, they could have been if they got Kyrie. That was the thing they could have done. But what they've done is kind of said, you know what? We can give it a go. We can see what can happen. Because again, like I said, with what happened that we're going to talk about, the Lakers aren't in a position to basically be title contenders this season. Again, if they get to the playoffs, maybe the second round, depending on the seeding, but that's really it.
That was even going to be my next question. What is their ceiling? Is it championship, conference finals, conference semis, or first round exit? Or
who's that, the Lakers right now?
Yeah, with the way the league
is playing team right about now. I don't. There's nothing.
Run
nah.
I mean, I'm with Sam. Like, I think
the West is stacked now. Now we're gonna go on to it, but now the Suns have got, KD. The Mavs have got Kyrie and Doncic. Who are the Lakers gonna beat? Like, who are they really gonna beat? And I think this is where we have to start looking at Rob Pelinka. Obviously, there's been rumors about Bob Myers. We don't know if he's gonna stay at Golden State. And now there's rumors that obviously they've traded Wiseman, but they're also gonna go after OG Anunoby, and you have him to add to the defense.
They got Kevin Knox apparently.
Yeah, he's going there as well. But if they can get OG to add to that team, that's actually good, because now you're gonna have Kuminga that can defend for Golden State, Draymond and OG, and then you got Steph and Clay and Paul. Yeah, Golden State are what Golden State are, but I just don't. You got the Kings that are good this season. Golden State are hovering. You got the Jazz. You got Memphis. Right about now, I just don't see Lakers in a good spot. Right
I'm looking at them right now. Really, the only team they can take out is Portland, because above them is Golden State, Minnesota. New Orleans is positive by 2 games, so potentially they could lose a few. Then afterwards, it's the Clippers, Mavs, Suns, Kings, Grizzlies, and Nuggets. So they're not gonna break into that. If they're gonna get into the play-in, really, it's potentially the Pelicans falling out, because I think Minnesota are strong enough to hang fire, and probably Portland. And even then, they're still 13th right now, and they're gonna lose against the Bucks, so they're gonna lose that particular game. And then they play the Warriors next. And that's when all the new guys will be able to play. So again, you're going to drop another game when you play the Bucks as well. So unless a miracle happens, but I'm expecting the Bucks to beat the Lakers. So it is one of them. I think, I know I said that the ceiling's max second round, but I think even just making the playoffs and getting into the first round for this season will probably be a success for them.
Okay, and just quickly before we move on to the Suns, because it looks like the Clippers are trading away all their guards. Is so they've gotten rid of Reggie Jackson. They've sent him to Charlotte. They've gotten rid of Chris Paul. John Wall, and they sent him to Houston. Even Luke Kennard as well. They've gotten rid of him as well. And there's been rumors that Clippers do want Westbrook. But in terms of Westbrook, where do you think he goes from here in terms of his career and how he's seen in the NBA?
Do you know what? So basically, the way I look at Westbrook is, look, this man was an amazing teammate, multiple-time MVP. No, wait, was he 2? No, he's only won it once.
Westbrook, yeah, he's won it once.
It's a great season, though.
Yeah, I think for him, I think his career was solidified when he took OKC to where they did without Kevin Durant. I think after that season, in the back-to-back triple doubles, I think it was a case of you couldn't really achieve much more than that. I think for everyone, they really should just remember as a 1A solid teammate, like an elite 1A teammate, and that was his ceiling. He's already gone past the ceiling, and it's that cliff that, shout out Max Kellerman, that we was talking about, where he falls down. Russ is on that cliff where he's just falling down right now. So there's not much that can happen with Russ right now. Similar like with John Wall. John Wall has been on that where he's just fallen. So Russ is kind of on it. So
Westbrook is still a good player. He's just not all-star caliber player no more.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So his cliff, he's down.
I'm saying, but his cliff is there. But John Wall's been dusted for some time now.
But with Russia, even though we laugh at him, we call him Westbrook and whatnot. Yes, he's not the same player that he was a couple years ago, a few years ago. But the NBA is very star-driven. So I would say there's probably 10 to 12 teams that will still take him, and he might start for them, just in regards to being box office. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Charlotte, MJ loves him. Charlotte will put him on his team. You got the Pistons. He'll go there. And the thing with Russ will rather go there.
Void the trades. You don't want that.
Put these crazy numbers. Like Russ will be happy going to a dead team, putting up nice numbers, stat padding, and yeah, they're lottery teams. But for him, he's still got a career, and he can kind of ease out gracefully on the terms he wants. Like obviously, he's not going to play for the Jazz, but there's other teams that he could go to.
Clippers,
obviously, not Orlando.
Nothing. Is he a Clippers Heat, or I want him to retire?
You know what?
That Charlotte stuff.
That's joined.
I was just gonna say what this season has shown though is, remember when Melo was told to go on the bench and he was bare annoyed about this and he was like, no, this isn't happening type thing. Russ took that role and made it his, became that sixth man. Like I think he was a favorite for the sixth man. So I think if anything, it shows that regardless, there's production there. Maybe not as a starter, but if you put him as the guy to lead the bench, it's there, and there's a versatility in the player that a lot of people might not have seen before that it's possible. So there's still a bit to go with Russ, but like I said, it's a cliff. Like he's falling down it, but not in a disrespectful type of way.
No, 100%. And just switching over, and we're still in the West because the East are sleeping right now. Nobody in the East is making no trade, so it's just everything in the West. I went to bed and I woke up with KD has been traded to the Suns, which is funny because he didn't even have to put in another trade. It's like Brooklyn knew that.
We did that in a group chat.
yeah, bro. It's like you knew that once Kyrie was gone, you knew it was happening.
Like, let's rebuild. We have to start again. We'll do each other solid. We don't need you right now because you're not.
That's at this time.
You know what I mean? So it was one of those. Yeah. I was surprised when I woke up and I saw it.
Yeah, so I think they've sent Mikal Bridges and Jay Crowder. Even though Jay Crowder, it doesn't really count because he never wanted to be in the Suns since the start of the season. So he's just been chilling at home. But they have lost another wing defender in Mikal Bridges. He was second defensive player of the year. What does this do for the Suns? Because they've had a horrible season after they had two good seasons, and then Luka ended them. So. But now they've gotten KD, which I still believe is a top 5 player in the league. Can the Suns team go all the way?
Do you know what? I'm going to go once. No, you go Sam first. You go first and I'll go after.
I would say yes, because it was so crazy that you look at the trade they did, yeah, and obviously they knew, maybe they had an inkling that KD would come out at some point or he wouldn't play. And you see what they trade him for. It's like, again, we'll go to Max Abashir. It's like, you've got a $1 and you trade it for like 25 cents because you gave KD and the Nets didn't even get DeAndre Ayton or CP3, and now they've got a big four.
Slowly washed, but yeah,
but if you look at it now, KD's in a situation where he can be KD, and Stephen A said this and I was like, this is actually true, because he goes there and all he has to focus on is scoring. Doesn't have to be a leader because CP3 is going to be a leader. He's got his wingman, Booker. He's got another big man. Then he's got a big man in Ayton. And all he has to do is be KD and put up between 30 and 35. It's basically another Golden State. And you just plug and play one or two defenders. And you see this trade, this makes them the favorites because this is a situation that KD thrives on. Like when you look at KD's apex, you look at the Golden State years, and this could bring it back because he don't have to dribble, he don't have to bring up the ball. What he was doing in in New York, in Brooklyn. He's got a proper second wingman that's not going to be flaky, even though Kyrie does his thing. But you got Booker that's going to be there that can drop 70. Imagine, and then you got a big man that can take pressure off you.
He's very hit and miss, Ayton.
Exactly.
Ayton, very hit and miss.
But I think he's hit and miss, but I think having KD and CP3 now is going to help him in terms of they're going to toughen him up a little bit because it's championship or bust. Really, right about now for KD. It's championship or bust. They've got a 2-year window because CP3 is not getting any younger, innit? But I think this makes them the favourites and contenders. I'll probably put them up, say the Suns, Boston, and then the Bucks. And then I love the Golden State. So if Golden State Warriors can sort out their team,
Gary Payton is back.
We're Golden State.
Yeah, they're just going back.
After they lost them Portland yesterday, jokers.
Yeah, on 5 second-round picks.
Wait, talking about Portland, wasn't it Josh Hart that got traded?
Yeah. Portland, he got traded while he was warming up.
You see Lillard's face is like, sorry, man, I couldn't do the thing.
No, it's crazy.
NBA is heartless, man. Heartless. Crazy.
So,
it actually is the worst, man. Like, how can you get traded pre-game and not be told about it? Like, give me some notice. I don't even have to suit up or something.
Someone said if this was happening in football, Mourinho would abuse this.
What is it? It'd be like 45 minutes in, you've not done well. Get out.
Fabrizio will be tweeting at halftime that Martial has been sold to Juventus or some crap like that. Wait, so just also staying in the West. So would this be one of the most competitive Western Conference we've seen in a long time? Because there just seems to be too many great teams there. Because I'm actually want to say the Suns are clear favorites as well. We can't sleep on Denver, because what Denver have been doing can be chemistry is a big thing in the NBA, and that just doesn't go away. I mean, as you said, the Lakers got spacing, and so that means LeBron can do what he needs to do. Golden State might be back. I mean, Memphis was. I said, Ja Morant was saying we're fine in the West. He doesn't look like he's fine in the West no more.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, it's tough, but like, what's it called? The East is back to being the minor league again.
So this is the thing. I was going to say, I'm glad the All-Star game has changed its format, because we were going to get back to them games where the West was dominating and the East had literally nothing.
No one.
But I think it probably is. But to piggyback off Sam's point, so I like to look at betting lines just as an indicator of where things are and stuff, and where Vegas is feeling. And Phoenix are the second favourites, only to the Boston Celtics, because Boston have a better record overall, so they would have home court. Phoenix currently are the outright big favourites to win the Western Conference, just by that trade. And I'll take it one step further. You said about him being a top 5, say Kevin Durant's a top 3 player. Him, LeBron, and Giannis are the only needle movers in the entire NBA. You put them on alongside another all-star caliber player or a 1B teammate, that team becomes the favorite, at least for that immediate future, because the hype is there. So them three are like needle movers. So right now you have to say Phoenix are the favorites, but I'm going to go back to that thing about chemistry and in this particular team, and injuries. This team is ridiculed with injuries. They're like as frail as it gets. They're like an 85-year-old grandma. One little tap and they're breaking. So there's another thing. There's only so much. Kevin Durant's again in that little boat as well, because he gets injured a lot. So it's like, again, how healthy can they be? We've seen it with the Clippers. That's another team that they'll rest their players. They do not care about the regular season as much as a lot of other teams do, because they believe, regardless of their seedings, as long as they get one home round game, they're going to be good. But yeah, like I said, I'm interested to see what the Suns can do. They will be the favorites. The hype will be around them. Like TNT, ESPN, they are going to want to show more of their games. But yeah, for me right now, because of the trade, they'll be the favorites, because they have like a 2.5-star super team. Because I ain't putting Chris Paul as a 3-star super team. I'm sorry, I just don't.
And I said this in the group, and I was like, if KD was to bring a championship to Phoenix, what does that mean? Like, what do you guys think that means? Because I'm not saying it's on the Cleveland level, but he's brought a championship to a city that's never had an NBA championship. If he does deliver it, and he's an MVP in the final.
It would definitely be worth more than the Golden State rings, but I still don't think it would be the like a Bucks kind of, like, see what it is for LeBron to Cleveland or Giannis. Like, because at the end of the day, I mean, this is as close to a super team as you're gonna get in today's NBA with Chris Paul, KD, Booker, Ayton. Like,
well, this is the thing that I hear it, but we change the narrative, because we just saw Abasta said CP3 is not the guy he's washed.
No, don't get me wrong. I said it will be a very respectable ring.
Bullied by Giannis and wanting to check out of the game.
No, it'll be a very respectable ring. I'm just saying it won't be on the level as the ones with the Cleveland and the Bucks. And even what's it called? Like Steph's ring last year, to me personally, will even hold a bit more value than if KD was to win a ring with the Suns this year. But a ring is a ring at the end of the day when you start looking back at history. Like everyone says KD's a 2-time. Is when you start deeper inside, you start talking about fraudulent rings and all that kind of stuff. But I said it will be really interesting to see what is happening.
I'm going to just quickly say though, before we wrap up, this is why the rings that KD won in Golden State have to be respected more, because we had this super team with Brooklyn. It failed. It flat out failed, as bad as it's ever done in its entire life. We're looking at the Clippers right now. We're looking at them on the clock type of thing with Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. They've done nothing. That's why, like, we have to respect these super team rings that LeBron did with Miami, and also Kevin Durant and Steph did in Golden State.
And just to piggyback off Abbas quickly, and we got to realize that what Abbas just said there, and if it wasn't for an injury, they would have three-peated. Like,
yeah,
people don't comprehend that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? A little, because we saw that game where KD played for 10 minutes. The 10 points that he got, that's how they were able to win that game. You see what I'm saying? Against Toronto. So again, if he wasn't injured, they would have swept it. So yeah, man.
I mean, that would be a conversation for a different day, because I would like to dissect their rings a bit deeper, but we don't have time. But as I said, it'll be fun to see. I can't wait for the playoffs to start, because I feel like there won't be any boring matchups. Like, we're not gonna have to see no Bucks versus Orlando like in the West, like we're about to see in the East, or whatever crap is happening over. Like, it's the minor league again. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys jumping on. Anything you want to promote, shout out at the end of this?
I'm good, follow us on the socials, and that's really it. Like, I'm just having a vibe. Super Bowl's on Sunday, but right now we're talking NBA.
Mickey
But
Ball.
the Super Bowl's on Sunday. I gotta keep pushing my NFL. Gotta keep pushing the NFL.
I'm gonna try and tune in. To see what's going on.
It's a vibe. Rihanna's performing. I've got PM15 winning with Kansas. I do like the Eagles, but I'm just disappointed they beat the 49ers. And on my end, just follow the socials, Undiluted Media _ on Insta, Undiluted Media 1 on Twitter, and Undiluted Media on YouTube. Just follow up, man.
Yeah, follow me as well. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, same thing everywhere. Out of Bounds _ UK. And like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your mum, your dad, sister, uncle, whoever likes sports to watch out. And thanks for joining again.